Anytime a play of yours is being done for the first time, it's very, very exciting, especially when you've got such a talented cast and so much support from the Mountain Playhouse. It just makes it a joy.
Do you have a favorite play of your whole body of work? Do you hold Stonewall's Bust as special?
Stonewall's Bust, I'm very pleased with that production. Each script is different, and you write it based on how you're feeling at the time. But Stonewall's Bust was an idea that came to me 20 years ago that I had put off in a closet somewhere, and I was going to write it if I had time. And my agent at the time told me, just I need you to write something new. And so I went through, the list of ideas and came across this one. Now it's time for me to start writing this one. And it took no time to write at all. It was really effortless writing on my part. And I gave it to the agent. The agent sat on it for 9 months without ever reading it. And so I fired the agent, sent it to Mountain Playhouse, and the rest is history. but it was essentially, like straight out of the laser printer and straight into production at Mountain Playhouse.
What made it effortless?
I don't know. It's just 20 years of preparation, perhaps.
20 years of it just sort of sitting in your brain.
Yeah, that's
back there.
It was Edward Albee said that's where most of the writing goes in. Most of the writing you do is when you're not actually writing, when you're thinking about it. But about half of what appears on the stage I actually planned out, and the other half I discovered along the way, and things were just falling into place very, very nicely. I was very pleased when I completed the script.
The original story, with so much concentration on the South, the North-South issue.
I wasn't necessarily, trying to go for like a North-South divide. I needed to find some reason for the entire family to dislike my main character, Paul, on an immediate, visceral level, and still have it be kind of funny for an audience. And so that was the paradigm I used of him being, a northerner in a southern town.
So you could have chosen, say, Steeler fans, Pittsburgh Steeler fans, and Dallas Cowboy fans, and you might have had a similar rivalry.
I could have done that. It would have been a very, very different play. Yeah.
Yes, no.
What would that have been? Just maybe Bradshaw's toupee, we would have called it.
Did you go to school to learn about jokes, or is that something that you have always had?
Comedy class with a K, right? No, I guess, I come from a very funny family. My dad was always very funny. All the Morogiellos were very funny. Maybe it's part of growing up in New York. I don't know. But it was something that as a kid, I would watch funny movies. I would watch Danny Kaye, or I would watch Abbott and Costello with the Marx Brothers and Buster Keaton. I'm a huge fan of. And I would immediately laugh at what they did. I would have the same reaction as everyone else did, but I was the kid who would say, why? Was that funny? And analyze, if he did it that way, would it still be funny? If he changed it that way, would it not be funny? And then I would go off and try to do that, come up with funny things that happened to myself, that happened to me, and then in retelling the story, what worked, why did everyone laugh, and so hone it that way. So even when I was in 3rd grade, I was writing comedy.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. So it's a true love of yours.
Yeah, or an obsession, or just an addiction, I don't know.
Do you act as well as write?
Not as much as I used to. I originally wanted to be an actor when I was in high school, but a professor of mine in college said it's easier to break in as a writer, and plus nobody was writing roles for tall, skinny 18-year-old kids at the time, so I said I'll write them for myself.
So not acting so much, but you do have definitely acting in your background, so I'm sure that aids with the writing.
I really think that's the best way of approaching writing, is as an actor, because you can understand your characters better. As an actor, you're always looking for the motivation of the character. What are things that I want to say as an actor? What are things that an actor would like to play? And I can put that in a script. And that's why very often I trust the actors. If they come up to me and say, I don't understand why my character's doing this, I listen, because the actors usually know the individual motivation of that character far better than I do. I'm looking at a whole thing. They're looking at their specific motivation.
you arrived yesterday afternoon when
Yes.
it was a day off, and so today you came at 10 a.m. and you've been watching rehearsal all day.
Oh yeah.
Now, I imagine at the stage they're in right now, actors are still stumbling over their lines a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
And so it's an awkward time for the actor because they're trying to get their blocking and. But what do you think?
Oh, I've been really happy. You know, it's one of those. The best thing about being a playwright is being able to sit back and take credit for the work of others, and it's definitely what's going on here. Because I mean, the actors are finding little nuances and shades in a line that I had not necessarily heard when I wrote it, which are just adding depth and dimension to the roles in a huge way. I'm very happy. I'm finding a lot more jokes than I didn't hear from the reading that. When they're visually represented on the stage, you know, a little bit of business, you know, an eye movement and hand gesture, it's adding so much more. I'm having a ball.